Now, what I'm actually going to be setting up here is a little invasion. I'm going to be showing you how to actually have allies run into battle with you, hide behind cover, and fight the enemy AI. So it adds. Hey everybody, so today we're going to be taking a look at some tips and tricks on how to make your AI better in the Far Cry 5 map editor. Now what you're seeing on screen now is some of the things that I've done in my own maps. That's a map called Virus that I just released today. There's a download link in the description. I would highly recommend that you check that out. I would greatly appreciate it as well. So what we're going to focus on today is how to make your maps flow a little bit better, how to give them a little bit more realism. A lot of the times, if you just place in AI without the techniques I'm going to show you today, the AI will basically just mindlessly wander around your map. It's not realistic, doesn't look good, and it's just not good for gameplay. So, as you can see here in front of me, we have these blue boxes. Now, the two things we're going to focus on today are control zones and animation points. So, this blue box you're seeing is called a control zone. And what this does is it basically limits the character that's sitting here to only operate within this zone, okay? We're going to go over those in some more detail now, but essentially the reason that these are important is because it, specifically behind this car here is a good example. Typically, this AI would just wander around the map if I didn't have this control zone here. Now that I have it, he's confined to stay behind that car, so when we are in battle with him, he's going to take cover behind that car and fight with us from there, which is a lot more realistic than him just charging at us full speed, which you can do with this, by the way. I'll show you how to do that. There's a lot you can do with these control zones. They're new to Far Cry 5. We didn't have them in Far Cry 4. So let's go ahead and jump right in and take a look at how we can use these. So in order to spawn one in, just go ahead and go to Add AI. We'll go ahead into Control Zones. You can do this with animals as well, but we need NPC. We have three options. There's Defend, Defend Cautious, and Move in Defend. Now, what I'm actually going to be setting up here is a little invasion. I'm going to be showing you how to actually have allies run into battle with you, hide behind cover, and fight the enemy AI. So it adds a lot of depth to your map. I promise you that this will be valuable to you if you don't already know this stuff. It's very, very good to know. So for this one, we're going to use Defend Cautious. So go ahead and place that in, and we'll select it, go into Custom Properties here. And as you can see, you can change it from box to cylinder and change the size. So we're actually going to knock down the size of this a little bit here to fit behind this truck that's to our right. We'll rotate it and just place it in. They're literally that easy. There's a little bit more to set them up, but that's basically how you just spawn one in. They're super simple. So I'll go ahead and just take one of these AI over here and go ahead and spawn them in. Now, in order to pair the AI to this zone, is you go ahead and select them, go into Object Options, Control Zones, and as you can see, there's multiple different numbers. Now, it's very confusing the way they set this up. For some reason, when you spawn in these zones, they're numbered, but they don't start with 1. They'll start with some random number. In my case, it was in the 20s. So just keep track of when you're spawning them in. The newest control zone you spawn in will be the highest number here. So as you can see, I just spawned this in. This number is 32. The previous control zone I spawned in is number 31. Okay, so it basically just goes in chronological order. Another way to tell if your AI is paired to the zone is there's this black line here on the ground. As you can see, it shows that he's kind of connected to this. So that tells you that he's stuck. So again, highlight your AI, make sure they're inside the blue zone, go into Object Options, Control Zones, and go to the number. Again, you'll see the black line to make sure you get the right one selected. And that's that. That's control zones. And I'll show you why this is super important in a second here. One more thing we're going to go over is, like I said, how to make allies run into battle with you. And it's actually very simple. So again, we need another control zone for this. Go into Add AI, Control Zones, NPC, and Move in Defend. So what this is exactly what it sounds like. if you place one of these in and connect enemies or allies to them, they will actually move to this control zone and then defend it. So what we'll do is we'll just rotate it a little bit here. We're going to cut down the size of this to make it fit behind this car. Cut it down like this here. Go ahead and we'll just stick it right there. Okay. And now let's go ahead and place in some ally AI. So allies, you can use whatever AI you want for this. I'm going to go ahead and use this one here. I'll place in 2 of them. So again, it's the same process to pair these. Select it, object options, control zones, and move and defend. There you go. So I'm actually going to make 2 different control zones for these because I don't want them both to go behind the car. Let's say I want, actually we already have one. Let's say I want one of my guys to go up here and fight these other guys here from the porch. All I have to do, as you can see, I already have this placed in, is go ahead and pair it. Control zones, find the one. This is move and defend. And there we go. Again, if you highlight them, you can see this black line just to confirm. And yes, he is connected to that one. Perfect. Now, there's one other thing that I recommend you do. And this option is only available for ally AI at the time, is select them. And specifically, this is useful in a scenario like this where I'm trying to create like an invasion on this little town that I've set up here, is we can actually make the AI respawn after they've been killed. So it makes like a, this illusion that you're having an invasion go on and there's constantly guys running in with you. So if we go ahead and select them, object options, and go to spawning options, we have 3 options. There's spawn once, which means he dies, he never comes back. Then there's always respawn out of sight, which means as long as we aren't looking at him, he spawns. And then we have always respawn. I would recommend you use respawn out of sight because you don't want to just see characters dropping into your map. That's not realistic whatsoever. So always respawn out of sight. Boom, we got these 2 guys here. I'm going to go ahead and just reposition these further up here a little bit. Perfect. Okay, so now when we spawn into the map, these guys are going to run to the zones they're connected to and start fighting our enemies. So I guess we'll just go ahead and demonstrate that for you real quick. Okay, so there's something that I don't know why it happens, but you can't really prevent it. They do take a second to start running to their zones, but once they start running here, I can see these guys are behind the trucks defending. He'll run right up to the car, and he will hopefully get behind the car here and start fighting the enemies. So it's pretty cool. It adds a lot of realism to the map. You can see this guy's up on the deck here fighting them. So, okay, that's that. Let's jump into the next thing I want to show you, which is very quick. And I'll just get rid of this zone here to make this a lot simpler. Put this guy down a little bit. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about are animation points. Now, animation points are essentially exactly what they sound like. It's a point in which you put down, a character will walk up to it and start doing an animation. Now, in order to add them, again, AI, animation points, characters. Now, most of you probably already know what these are because they weren't new to Far Cry like control zones were. These were in Far Cry 4. I'm not sure about 3, but I know they were in Far Cry 4. So let's go ahead and go to, let's see, we'll go to enemies. We'll go to idle. And as you can see, there's a ton of options here for these. So I guess we'll just do search around. I'll place this in and just quickly show you the settings you can use. I'm not going to spend too much time on these just because they're so easy to use. But the settings are important. So we'll go ahead and select them. Object options, animation point. If we uncheck loop indefinitely, which is basically once he starts the animation, he'll never stop. It will just keep repeating itself until he's either killed or something like that. So there's maximum duration, which is the amount of time he will perform that animation. And then there's cooldown, which means after he's done performing the animation, how much time it will take for him to start it again. So I would recommend you put loop indefinitely because chances are if you're placing this down, you want the AI character to be doing that thing. Now, I would recommend you put cooldown to 1, which means right when the game starts, he will start doing this almost immediately. So I'll go ahead and I guess I'll just put it right there next to the truck, and I'm going to get rid of these guys so they don't interrupt this. So, okay, so we'll just jump in here and I'll just show you really quick what these do. They're very easy, so just go ahead and place them where you want them. You can do a lot with these. You walk right up here, and there you go. Now he's like behind the truck. He's ready to go, taking cover. If you pair these with the other things I showed you, very, very valuable to AI. And this is a perfect example. You can see that now that I deleted the control zone, you see how this guy's just mindlessly wandering around? He's sitting behind the car over here. Like, he's not doing anything we wanted him to do. Yeah, those are very important to your map. And so are these, as you can see. So I hope this helped you guys. If you're new to map editing, this will be very, very helpful to you. And if you're already an editor, I hope that maybe I opened your eyes to some things that you haven't thought of before. So if you enjoyed, don't forget to subscribe. Again, please check out the map in the description. I would definitely worked hard on that, and I promise you will not be disappointed with that one. So yeah, thank you guys, and have a good day.